I never imagined running into my ex-husband selling tea on a train would change everything. I remember the moment like it was yesterday. The air was thick with anticipation and the clattering of steel as the train rattled along the tracks. I was lost in thought, staring out at the blurred landscape, when a chill ran down my spine. The shrill sound of the conductor's voice faded, replaced by a familiar laugh. It twisted my gut like a knife. I turned slowly, my heart pounding in my chest. He stood there, looking like a ghost from my past. This stranger who was once my everything, draped in an apron, pouring steaming green tea into delicate china cups. How fitting, I thought. A symbol of warmth when our love had turned cold. His eyes locked onto mine, wide with disbelief. Could he tell how I trembled? The ache in my throat returned. I wanted to cry out, to flee, but my feet felt glued to the floor. I could see it all the way he used to make me laugh, how he held my hand like it was the most precious thing in the world, then how it all crumbled apart in silence. The taste of bitterness lingered on my tongue. "Fancy seeing you here," he said, his voice carrying a hint of surprise, but deeper still was a sadness that mirrored my own. I could hear the soft murmur of passengers, their curious glances, the scratching of a pen on a ticket. A momentary hush fell around us, as if time had paused to watch our inevitable confrontation. My heart raced faster, beats echoing in my ears like the wheels of the train. I wanted to scream, to shout why did it have to end like this? But the words were swallowed by the din of the train, lost in an ocean of memories. The warm aroma of tea wafted between us, mingling with the tension in the air, laying bare the unspoken feelings that still lingered beneath the surface. Suddenly, I noticed something strange, a glint on his finger. My breath caught. Was that a ring? Was he remarried? The questions raced through my mind, swirling like the steam rising from his cups, fogging my thoughts. My chest tightened, felt like a vice tightening around my heart. I had come on this train seeking distraction, to escape the relentless ache of our history. And now, here he was. I stood frozen, battling the impulse to run or reach out, caught between the urge to scream his name and the fear of breaking the fragile silence that hung thick between us. What did his smile mean? What was he hiding behind those familiar eyes? I felt an electric charge, a sudden rush of clarity cutting through the haze. I could either turn away, run and pretend I wasn't shattered, or I could step closer, face the cracks of my heart head-on. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads-up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The train continued its relentless path, a metallic beast cutting through miles of cold, indifferent landscape. I could feel my heart racing in time with the rhythmic clatter of the wheels against the tracks. Each thud echoed in the hollow chamber of my chest, a sobering reminder of the fragility of this moment. "Care for some tea?" he asked softly, breaking the silence that stretched between us like a chasm. His words slipped through the air, fragile and tentative, daring to bridge the distance that even time had failed to close. I was struck by the absurdity of it. Here we were, two people who had once shared everything, now standing face to face in a train car filled with strangers, paralyzed by our own history. That I shook my head, surprised by how tightly my throat had clenched. "No, I'm okay," I managed to mutter, grappling with the reality of being here, of seeing him, and not knowing what I truly wanted from this encounter. I took a shaky breath, willing myself to say something more meaningful, something that wouldn't betray the depths of my turmoil, but words failed me. That he nodded, and for a brief moment, I saw the flicker of understanding in his eyes, a shared acknowledgement of the time that had passed, the words left unspoken. It was a heaviness I recognized all too well, born from years of unprocessed emotions. How could we stand so close yet feel galaxies apart? Feeling the weight of my gaze, he shifted, pouring a cup of tea and handing it to an older woman sitting nearby. "What do you think?" he asked as he returned his focus to me, his voice laced with an earnestness I hadn't expected. "Not the tea, I mean us." The question hung in the air, sharp and unexpected. My heart raced anew, and I searched for an answer amidst the chaos swirling in my mind. "I don't know," I whispered, feeling raw and exposed. "It feels complicated." Each word dripped with the heaviness of what we had endured, of the bitter intertwining of love and loss that had long overshadowed us. He ran a hand through his hair, a gesture so familiar it pained me to see. "Complicated isn't the half of it," he replied, his voice low. There was an ache in his words that resonated with mine, a resonance that reverberated through me. But I never wanted it to end like that, those words. They hung there, a lifeline thrown into the tumultuous waters of our shared past. I felt a powerful longing rise within, an urge to unravel the tangled threads of our story, to seek understanding, closure. Or maybe even a flicker of hope. Yet the walls I'd built around my heart were still fortified, a fortress against pain. Just as I opened my mouth to respond, a sudden jolt rocked the train. Passengers gasped, and the conductor's voice crackled through the intercom, panic seeping into the atmosphere. "Please remain calm. We're experiencing a minor delay, but we will continue shortly." I clutched the armrest, my heart pounding in my chest as the anxiety surged. My eyes darted back to him, and for a split second, we were both suspended in uncertainty, a momentary reprieve from the burden of questions. But just as quickly as it plunged into chaos, the turbulence subsided, and the train slowed, settling into a gentle rhythm once more. I glanced at him, searching for some semblance of reassurance, and for the briefest instant, he smiled a wistful, bittersweet gesture that left me breathless. Then, before I could process the implications, a woman I hadn't noticed before leaned toward us, her face flushed with urgency. "You two know each other?" she asked, her eyes gleaming with uncontained curiosity. An awkward silence stretched as we exchanged glances filled with unsaid confessions. But just as I opened my mouth to answer, the woman continued, her voice trembling with excitement. "He's the one who inspired me to start brewing tea. I've followed his journey, and I can't believe I'm seeing him here. You must have such a beautiful story." In an instant, all eyes in the car turned toward us, the air thick with anticipation. My cheeks burned under the weight of their gazes, pinning me to a moment I wasn't ready to confront. The flutter of hope I'd felt began to morph into something heavier, a knot of fear slithering down my spine. With a sinking feeling, I realized I had a choice, to lay bare our history on this train of strangers or shield myself with silence, protect the delicate remnants of memories and heartbreak. And just as the warm mist of nostalgia began to fog my vision, my mind jumped to the glint of metal I had noticed earlier, the ring on his finger made brighter in the crescendo of attention. Suddenly, those thoughts of lost days and regret were eclipsed by a new weight, darker than everything before. Had I misread the situation entirely? With the eyes of strangers boring into my soul, I faced him fully, a sudden intensity brewing where hope once flickered. My voice trembled as I asked, Are you engaged?" The question hung between us, a fragile crystal teetering on the edge of a precipice. I felt the collective breath of the train car catch in unison, a shared moment of anticipation mixed with the weight of unspoken